Hey everyone, I'm back, and today I'm going to talk about all of the books I read in June, and then I will tell you and show you all the books that I'm currently reading at the moment. So the first book I read in June was Ruby by Cynthia Bond, and this book was absolutely amazing, people. So good. It takes place in a fictional town in East Texas called Liberty, and the novel focuses around two characters, Ephraim and Ruby, who knew each other as kids, and we see them at the beginning as grown-ups. And the novel sort of starts with Ruby coming back. After 11 years, Ruby has been living in Liberty, having come back from living in New York, having fled to New York. And throughout the novel, you really see that she's very mentally ill, and you sort of follow her downfall as a character. And Cynthia Bond does an amazing job at really showing you in depth why and how she became the way she is. And it's just an incredible book. You also meet Ephraim, as I said before, and he, absolutely has fallen in love with Ruby and makes it his goal throughout the book to find her and express his love for her. And sort of you're following these two characters, but the book is non-linear, so it goes back and forth from to their past and their present, and you really see all their experiences that they had in their life, and how what happened to them to make them become the people they are. And that is one of my favorite things about reading. It's a really hard book to read. There's really a lot of heartbreaking moments and really terrible moments. So I really recommend this to everyone, unless you have a hard time dealing with things like rape or physical and sexual violence. There's lynching, some really horrible things to read. But I think it's really important to get through those things and to listen and read. The author Cynthia Bond worked with homeless and at-risk kids for a living for a long time, and so I watched some interviews with her, and a lot of things in this book I don't think that she just made up to be for the drama of it. I really think obviously these things happen to people, and it's really important that we know about these things and we listen to these things. And there's a really beautiful part of the novel when Ephraim says to Ruby, something like, if you're brave enough to live these things, then I deserve, or I'm here to listen. So I really think that's really important for us, especially in the times the times that we're living in now. It's really important that we are there for people and listen. This is just an incredible novel. I will link down below Jen Campbell's amazing review of this book, because she goes super in depth about the symbolism and just different amazing things that sort of made me want to read this book even more. So just a really incredible book that I recommend to not the faint of heart, because it's like I said, it's really hard to get through, but in the end it's very rewarding. It's about love and courage and bravery, and how love wins in the end. Not to be cheesy, but just a really incredible novel. So pick it up now. So the next book I read was The Girls by Emma Cline. So this book, it was fine. It was fine. If you don't know already, the book follows a girl named Evie, and it's mostly told when Evie was an adult, but she goes back and talks about her life as a 14-year-old girl and meeting this group of hippies that are in this cult that's based off of the Manson family. Now, I am super interested in the whole Manson family thing. I watch documentaries, and I love to read more about it. So that was one of the things that really got me interested in picking this book up. I literally, like, the week it came out, I ran to get it and picked it up and was so excited to read it. But, it was just okay. The writing was fine. It was kind of overwritten at some points. It was just, it felt like it was missing something towards the end. There wasn't not much happened, which is fine for a book. There's books that, are really plot heavy, and then there's books that are not so plot heavy, but, have a lot of character development. And so this book kind of was lacking in both, unfortunately. The characters were just not that interesting to me. A lot of people love this book, and I think that's fine, and a lot of people probably connected a lot more with Evie. It was fine. I think the best part of this book, was the end, towards the end, when something really big happens. And I'm not going to spoil anything for you, so you go out and read it. Tell me what you think. But I would love to hear if you've read this. I want to know your thoughts on this because I didn't know why it was so big and popular. It was just fine. I think I gave it like 3 stars on Goodreads. So I don't know. I'm not gonna really say anything more about it because. So the next book I read was Maurice by E.M. Forster. I've been wanting to read this book for the longest time, and I picked this up for June because it was Pride Month, obviously. So I had to read a gay book, yeah. So this was like I had to search. Unfortunately, my knowledge of LGBTQ literature. My knowledge of queer literature, I like that term so much better. I know a lot of people don't. Anyway, that's another video. My knowledge of queer literature is quite slim, unfortunately. And so this was on pretty much many lists that I found online, so I knew I had to pick it up. It was great. It was really, really, really good. Nice and short. The story follows Maurice, obviously, who we meet him at the beginning, fresh out of high school, and it follows him through college and then into adulthood. But through college, he discovers that he is gay, which, of course, in those times that this book takes place is not acceptable at all. And so it's really, really interesting to read, how he discovers it, and it follows his relationship with a man named one of his classmates named Clive. And it's really interesting to see how someone in that time period really had to deal with this and come to terms with it. And there's a point in it where he's going to psychiatrists and he's trying to, I think he's a hypnotist or something. I forget. Really kind of interesting to see how they dealt with this subject matter back then. This was actually, it says he completed this novel in 1940, but it wasn't published until 1970 after he died, which is quite sad. The characters were wonderful in this book. Not only Maurice, but Clive and Maurice's family and Clive's family. You really went in depth into their stories and their life. And it's just, I don't know what else to say. It was a great book. It was really easy to read. Of course, there were some parts where it gets really in depth with philosophy and religion and things like that. So it was kind of harder to read those parts. But for the most part, it was good. It was easy. So I really, really enjoyed it. The last book I read in June was just, I'm already smiling thinking about it. It was The Story of My Teeth by Valeria Luiselli. Oh my God, you guys, you all need to read this book, I swear. Now, there's not a lot to say about this novel because I don't want to give anything away because you just have to really discover this for yourself. Oof, looks really bright. There we go. You have to discover this novel for yourself. It's just like unwrapping this amazing gift because it's just incredible. I was smiling from ear to ear throughout the whole reading of this novel. So the story follows this man named Gustavo Highway Sanchez, who becomes this incredible auctioneer. And throughout the book, he's auctioning off these crazy things, and that's where we get the title. He auctions off the teeth of famous people, such as Marilyn Monroe and who was a Plato and Virginia Woolf. But it's the way that these auctions are described and how he sells these things is just insane. I don't want to give anything away, really, because you really need to discover this for yourself. It's just amazing. The character of this man is so endearing and incredible. I just want to meet him in person. It was just so good, you guys. It was one of the cool things was that it was written. Not only did Miss Luiselli write it herself, but she wrote it with the workers in the juice factory. And so I think what happened was she would come in and read parts of the story, and then they would in turn send them their revisions and their thoughts, and so she would edit it according to that. So really kind of a cool, creative way to write a book, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's published so well by Coffee House Press, one of my favorites. You've got these amazing, chapter breaks in there, and these cool, where are they? These little, I'm not gonna tell you what these are, but you'll see what they are when you read this and discover it. Just an incredible. You've got photographs in the back of different things. Really, really wonderful, endearing, just full of heart, this novel. Just full of so much love. You can see all the love, the passion and love that she has for writing throughout this book. It's just, I seriously would probably reread this as much as I can because it just made me so happy, and I can't express how much I love this. So if you've read it, I would love to know what you thought. And I also 100% recommend this novel if you're into, really witty, kind of offbeat stories and characters. So, read it, you guys, seriously. Okay, so now I'd like to show you all of the books that I'm currently reading. The first is The Gene, An Intimate History by Siddhartha Mukherjee. And this is the guy that wrote The Emperor of All Maladies, which was the biography of cancer, which I definitely need to read after this one. This is basically just the history of the gene, obviously, as the title suggests. But it's just so well written. You wouldn't think a nonfiction book this huge and chunky would be, easy to read, but it really is. I'm really just started it, actually. But it is just so good, and I definitely will tell you more about it after I finish it. But I am just really, really loving it and devouring this thing, so I can't wait to keep reading it. The next sort of nonfiction book I'm reading right now is The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. And for this, I'm just going to read the back to you because I really can't explain this as well as the blurb in the back can. So it says, Maggie Nelson's The Argonauts is a genre-bending memoir, a work of auto-theory offering fresh, fierce, and timely thinking about desire, identity, and the limitations and possibilities of love and language. It binds an account of Nelson's relationship with her It binds an account of Nelson's relationship with her fluidly gendered partner and a journey to and through a pregnancy to a rigorous exploration of sexual, gender, and family. An insistence on radical individual freedom and the value of caretaking becomes the rallying cry for this thoughtful, unabashed, uncompromising book. So first, I should probably learn how to read before I do that. Anyway, I think I just started this last night, actually. Only 20 pages in, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's written really interestingly. It's almost like prose poetry in a way. It's like prose poetry mixed with just, regular memoir. It's just gorgeous and beautiful, and I definitely will tell you more about this when I finish it. I am also reading Free Love and Other Stories by the wonderful, brilliant Ali Smith, who is one of my absolute favorite authors. This is a short story collection, and it says, a teenage girl finds unexpected sexual freedom on a trip to Amsterdam. A woman trapped at a dinner party comes up against an ugly obsession. The stories in Free Love are about desire, memory, sexual ambiguity, and the imagination. In the harsh light of dislocation, the people in them still find connections. Words blowing in the street, love in unexpected places. Ali Smith shows how things come together and how they break apart. She disconcerts and affirms with the lightest touch to make us love and live differently. And I am really, really enjoying this book so far. The next book I'm reading is very near and dear to my heart because it was written by a friend of mine, and it's called The Only Thing Worse Than Me Is You by Lily Anderson. I grew up with Lily in theater when we were kids, and it's just so amazing that she, is following her dreams and pursuing her dreams and, finally published a young adult book, and I'm just so proud of her. She's been working so hard. So congratulations, Lily. So far this book is wonderful. It's a YA novel. I'm going to read the flap to you because it's, it's fun. So it says, Trixie Watson has two very important goals for senior year. To finally save enough to buy the set of Doctor Who figurines at the local comic book store and to place third in her class and knock Ben West and his horrendous new mustache that he spent all summer growing down to number 4. Trixie will do anything to get her name ranked over Ben's, including give up sleep and comic books. Well, maybe not comic books, but definitely sleep. After all, the war of Watson vs. West is as vicious as the Doctor vs. Daleks and Browncoats vs. Alliance combined, and it goes all the way back to the infamous monkey bars incident in the 1st grade. Over a decade later, it's time to declare a champion once and for all. The war is Trixie's for the winning until her best friend starts dating Ben's best friend, and the two are unceremoniously dumped together and told to play nice. Finding common ground is odious and tooth-pullingly painful, but Trixie and Ben's cautious truce slowly transforms into a fandom-based tentative friendship. Until Trixie's best friend gets expelled for cheating, Trixie cries foul play, and they have to choose who to believe and which side they're on, and they might not pick the same side. It is so far so incredible. It's just, yeah, there's so many references to nerd culture in here that I'm just loving. And Lily is just a wonderful writer. And if you love, Doctor Who and Star Trek and those kind of things, and you love a good, YA romance novel that is just written, is so smart, and it's so down to earth and so funny and witty, and Lily is, and I'm not biased at all. And the last book I'm slowly making my way towards slowly making my way through is Between You and Me, Confessions of a Comma Queen, which I mentioned in my very first video. Apparently I'm a grammar nerd, and I didn't realize that I was. Mary Norris, if you've never seen her New Yorker videos, I definitely recommend that you watch them. She is a copy editor at the New Yorker, and she has these wonderful little videos on the New Yorker about different grammar and punctuation things, and sort of goes through examples from the New Yorker, and in a really fun way and engaging way sort of teaches you these things. And that's basically what this book is. But it sort of goes in depth with her story, and how she became who she is now, and sort of follow her career, but it's just fraught with these wonderful, witty, funny jokes and things, and it's just really a pleasure to read. But if you have any interest in grammar or punctuation at all, just the English language, if you're a lover of the English language, I think this is a really great book to pick up and read. So that's it. That's everything I'm currently reading and everything I read. So please, if you're new, please subscribe and comment. I'd love to chat with you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.